Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Plugs. My name is Graham Day, and this man is wearing a beautiful hat. And look at that beautiful face. This man is also called Graham Day. Also, Bibby's here. Hey! Do you know what I was tempted to do? I was just thinking about it then. So when we go live on the show, you guys obviously get to see the intro, and then the countdown, and then the scoop intro, and then we come into the screen, and I start talking. And Bibby's obviously he's got the screen set up at his end, but he's not necessarily watching the stream. And if he is, he's delayed anyway. So I was thinking then, I'm just going to put Bibby full screen, just come out of it, and just have Bibby just sat there like one of those BBC things.
It is the moneymaker, so I won't blame you.
Speaking of the moneymaker, Mr. T says, "Is that Sean Dyche?"
Yes, it is. I'd love to be able to do a Sean Dyche voice, but I don't think I've got it.
There's not enough gravel in the world for anyone to be able to do Sean Dyche's voice. It's like yeah, you either go like really deep like that, or but then it's like it's not even that, because that's just like a shit. But Sean Dyche is more like a just pure gravel, but with the same tone as a normal voice. Yeah. It's like, oh damn. Anyone who doesn't know what that's we're on about, just check out Bibby's Twitter. We've got video, check it out on Twitter. Anyway, welcome in. My name is Graham. This is Bib. We are Ice Cream, and in true ice creamy fashion, this is the scoop. The scoop, named that because one, it's an ice creamy word, and two, it means news, and this is your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. Some may say this is the UK's #1 video game podcast. We are those people, but still, we say it. That's true. It's facts. Anyway, we're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions, so we can create a little bit of backwards and forwards, a discussion about all the stories that I have today. And it's important, if you are in the chat, I can see there's a few of you in already, that you use the opportunity to get involved on behalf of everyone else that is watching this on demand later on, that doesn't have the ability to jump right into the conversation live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Plugs. We are live now. We create a YouTube video later and an audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat right now, please feel free to get involved. Anyway, Bib, I saw you were on last night playing a little bit of a PGA. How'd you get on?
I joined the Apex Hounds society, shall I say, and I finished, I think, overall 3 under after 2 rounds, and there was someone who finished like 40 under after 2 rounds. The people who was on the timeline, because you can post comments to the wall and people can see it, and they were just absolutely raging at the fact that someone's managed to finish like 40 under after 2 rounds.
Do we reckon that's someone that's a 40 under player, or is that someone that's like figured out the hacks? What we're saying?
I've no idea. That's the thing at the moment. I don't know. People like when the Craig from HB Studios came into our stream, he was saying that Pro Clubs this time is like what Master Clubs was like on 2019, which is great because I use Pro Clubs now and I use the Master Clubs in the old one. That's fine. I can get used to it. I'm getting used to playing Pro Clubs now. However, if someone was really, 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 really good at Masters Clubs and they was just like a superb player in 2019, being able to play in Pro Clubs now while everybody else is still getting used to it and them getting 20 under per round, it is achievable. I was 11 under using pro-am difficulties each round in our society, so it is achievable. However, I don't know. I'm still on the fence with it. I can see it, but I can't at the same time because some of the scores was ridiculous. Like it usually means that someone would have to eagle or bird at every other hole, which is a massive feat in itself. Like I've probably had like 10 eagles so far in this game, and I managed to get 2 on stream last night.
Is an eagle 2 under par?
Yeah.
See that? Look at that. I don't want to say I'm a golf professional.
He's learning.
I mean, why did they name them after bird things like eagles and birdies and things like
albatross?
Is there an albatross? Is
that
like 3 under? And which one's pigeon?
I didn't even know there was a pigeon. So Christ knows.
I've nailed a pigeon. Actually, that means something else. Never mind. Let's move along from that one. And good morning to Dave. He says it's fine this end. Yeah, for those of you that were in really early, we went live and then went off and then went live again because we're having a little audio popping thing. But we cleaned it up, so it's fine. Good morning, Chucky, as well. Dropping that exclusive Ice Cream Upload subscriber emote that sounds a little bit like this.
Hello.
Yeah.
That was a bit dicey, wasn't it?
It was a bit, actually. Oh, let's do it. Oh, that's Ray Winston again. I can't do Sean Dash. Chappers, good morning. And Cumbrian Toffee says, 40 under par, I can only dream. So when it says minus 40, how
Yeah.
do you actually say that? Like
So it's 40 under.
40 under? See,
Yeah. So like because it's a minus, it's under. So if it was over, it'd be plus. So if the par's 70 and I've shot 40, that would be that. It usually mean that would be like 30. Like yeah, I just shot a 30 round. Obviously, that's accumulated over 4 rounds.
yeah. So
Um,
it's just if you're looking at a football score and it says 0-0, we know that as people that obviously watch a lot of football. You don't say it as 0-0 or 0-0. You say 0-0. It's the phrasing. So I like it because I don't watch or play golf. When I see minus 40, I'm thinking, Bibby got minus 40. I'm thinking that just sounds not
He is
like
shit.
something. That's like, yeah, exactly. Sounds like not something someone that plays golf would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, 40 under. There we go. I'm not going to remember that. I'm going to be still minus in scores all over the way. Bibby got minus 12. Yeah. Chappers says, I've only had 14 under. You see, he's one of the boys now. I've only had 14 under once, and it was on Tiger Woods PGA Tour with the Masters, which I think was like 2013, 2014. I'd be terrible at it. This event right now. Got to buy the game first. I'm sucker in a dirt. He's a little bit short of the pundage. So what, mate? So what? Morning, Madge as well. Salty dog says same, but 2012. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, anyway. Anyway, everyone, welcome into the stream. It's enough chat about the golf. I mean, I would tell you what I did, but I basically rinsed and repeated what I did last week. There's a really nice place in Manchester's northern quarter called Sicilian NQ. Me and Danielle went and used the eat out to help out stuff and got mahusive. It was good. Arancini balls, lasagna, and we asked for chips, but they didn't have any chips because this is like a proper.
What?
Exactly. That's what I mean. That was my feeling last week. We went on like Wednesday last week and they didn't have chips. So like, we'll go again and because a lasagna with chips, I don't care what you say, is world class. I mean, you might say, oh, you just ruined lasagna. It's world class, mate. It's world class. We'll get over it, fine. So me and Danielle were like, oh, we'll go back on Monday and we'll get it with chips this time. So I went in, there's like, nope, no chips again. It's like, fuck. But it's a proper like Sicilian sort of place. So they don't really do like potato. All this other stuff. Anyway, went last week. I ordered my go-to drink. My cocktail of choice is an amaretto sour. Smash. Went in there, ordered amaretto sour, and the cocktail dude came up to the table and says, "I'm sorry, but we don't have eggs because we have our drinks being vegan, and an amaretto sour has egg white in to give it a bit of like thickness and creaminess." I was like, "Oh, okay," thinking I'll just have an amaretto and coke. Then he goes, "But I can make it with something else if you want. I can use like chickpea water." And nobody ever wants the phrase chickpea water mentioned for what you could drink ever. So I was like, yeah, go on then. Anyway, perfect. It was like exactly the same thing. It didn't taste any different. So we went yesterday for the lasagna and chips. We've got no chips, but we can do you like a pani yellow, which is basically fried chickpea. I'm thinking this place lives on chickpeas. But you know what? We had decent chickpeas last week in the amaretto sour. So yeah, go on then. We'll try it. So they came with these like little flat squares, almost like potato cake looking slash. If anyone's had depending where you're from, either a collop or a scallop from a chippy, which is basically a flat piece of potato, like a big chip. That's what it came out looking like. Anyway, it tasted just like potatoes, so my mind's blown. Chickpeas, which sounds like the most boring food in the world, makes an amaretto sour and a chip. Who knew? Who knew?
So is it a vegan place? Did you say?
No, they just like when it comes to drinks and stuff, they didn't have any eggs and stuff for that. They only have enough like because it's a really really small place. They only have enough like rations for enough eggs for the food and enough this for that and not enough potatoes for that or whatever. So yeah, basically they didn't have any eggs for the cocktail making side of things, but they had plenty of chickpea stuff, so they could use chickpea water. But there you go. It's really good. Sicilian NQ if you're ever in Manchester. It's really good. Aquafaba rocks, by the way, super good for making vegan meringue. I thought that was some sort of apparel for deep sea divers. I'm wearing my Aquafaba today, mate. Yeah, it's proper good. Chip keys. That's what I said. I said like chickpeas. It's put chip keys. So yeah, pretty much yeah. Anyway, I'm distracted. I said we're just about to jump into the news. Let's actually jump into some news because we have quite a bit to jump through today. So first news story of the day you will have seen on our tweet is that Nintendo maybe have something up their sleeve, as a new Nintendo Switch model will launch next year. A new report claims, written by Andy Robinson for VGC. The tagline says, Taipei-based newspaper says updated model could enter production later this year. Actually, let's lose the article for just a second. I don't want to say that. I mean, I'm not going to take credit for this. I don't want to say that Bibby called that, but if you go back through about a bajillion episodes of the Scoop, Bibby called that because like Nintendo said we're not making a Switch model. There will be no new Switch models coming in 2020. This was like November, December-ish last year. And Bibby's like, oh, well, that means there's a new one coming in 2021 then. And there you go. Pretty much confirmed. But we'll jump into the article, see what it says. Nintendo will launch a new Switch hardware model early next year, a report citing manufacturing sources has claimed. Taipei-based newspaper Economic Daily News claimed on Tuesday that the new Switch would enter production later this year with a launch planned for Q1 2021. According to the publication, the new Switch model will feature upgraded interactivity, in quote marks, and improved display quality. And now we have an update to the article. A second report has corroborated EDN's claims that a new Switch will release in 2021 and claimed it could support 4K graphics. Ooh, interesting. Okay, the original story continues. The report cites various hardware manufacturers responsible for the Switch's flash storage, Joy-Con controllers, and more. Over the past year, several media reports have claimed that Nintendo has been planning a third Switch model in addition to the flagship console and the Switch Lite. Citing sources from the related supply chain, Taiwanese website DigiTimes reported in January that new Switch hardware would enter mass production in the first quarter of this year and launch soon after. The Wall Street Journal also claimed in 2019 that Nintendo was planning a more powerful Nintendo Switch hardware revision with enhanced features targeted at avid gamers, aka Bibby. And in April, Nintendo Switch firmware, a Nintendo Switch firmware update reportedly referenced a new unannounced hardware model. According to an engineer, the console's version 10.0.0 firmware refers to... Callum Lee, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. Good morning to everyone that's lurking as well. Thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. And redeem the posture check. You can't even see me. How do you know I'm not sitting up straight? But I'm not. So thank you very much for that. According to an engineer, the console's version 10.0.0... And again! Oh my god!
Yeah.
The console's version 10.0.0 firmware refers to a new NX ABCD hardware model. The software already references codenames for the launch model Switch, Switch Lite, and the 2019 update featuring improved battery life. Any existing hardware plans will likely have been significantly disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Nintendo resumed shipping Switch consoles in Japan in April after a brief hiatus following a surge in demand for the hardware that has continued through the summer. In the 3 months ending June 30th, Nintendo... Do you know what? We'll leave that there because that's just general sales stats and stuffs. But the main gist of the article is that a new Nintendo Switch model will launch next year, according to a new report. Bib, as a man that's been clamouring for a Switch Pro or something of that ilk for quite a while, what are your thoughts?
I think this was potentially... I think this has been on the cards for a long time. I think when they made the console, they realized as good as the console is graphically and what the games are currently on it are able to run like, I think having games like Wolfenstein, Doom, all of these high profile games being able to get played on a console like this is, I don't want to say a miracle, but to make them run with the frame rates and the resolutions that they've got is fantastic. I always think, though, that they was aiming to have 1080p native in your handheld from the start, but they just couldn't do it. So 720 was what they had to go with. I don't think they had the chipsets. I don't think they had the right hardware, and they obviously didn't do enough testing to be able to get a console out at a certain amount of time for them to be able to warrant just throwing out consoles that can output that kind of thing right from the get-go. We're now 3 years, maybe 4 years down the line. Technology has advanced to a point where they may be able to mass produce these kind of consoles that can output the power that is required to be able to have native 1080 in your hands, as well as it being docked. Because that's the difference. You're playing your games in your handheld at 720. As soon as you dock it, it can go up to 1080 because the dock's doing the work. It's taking all the power through the dock. And then being put onto the TV. That's fantastic. Can we get that in our hands? I think we may be in a position sooner or later to be able to do that. That will make that will. I don't want to say it was going to force Nintendo's hand, but it's going to make their games be more appealing to the masses. Because if you wanted to play something like, I don't want to play Wolfenstein or Doom on my handheld unless I absolutely adore those games because I know the better experience is going to be on my PC or on my PlayStation. The likelihood of having those games on there, and see, I still see the Switch as like a party console. Like if I want to play Fortnite, yeah, I can play it on there. I've been playing a lot of PGA on my handheld. If I'm not playing on my PlayStation, I'm downstairs in the front room playing PGA. That is the perfect console to be able to do that with as well. But to play AAA experiences where you're immersed using the thumbsticks, I don't find the thumbsticks on the Joy Cons that ergonomic. I think they're to a degree atrocious. The button cramping and things like that. I can't believe they didn't take all of the notes from the Vita because that again was another console where after a while your fingers are cramping up. It becomes unbearable to play. Mm. You muted. You're muted. You're muted.
No, I'm not. Back. Oh, as always. See, the reason I get muted is because I blow my nose and I don't want you guys to listen to it. And then forget every
Fuck
time.
it. Let them listen to it because I have to listen to it. Fuck it. They're listening to it as well.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was saying then is that I'm gonna give you all of the snot and the bogies every time. I'm not joking. I will continue to be muted because I'd rather have you guys get engaging in the chat. It's all a ploy just to get you engaging in the conversation. It's fine. Yeah, you see. Yeah. So the issues for, I think it's a general portable console thing. The issue is you've got this screen, and
Thank you for
in
the
reality,
ice cream.
Yorkie Ladder, thank you very much for the host. Good morning. Good morning. By the way, if you want to see someone constructing actual ladders out of Yorkie bars, then make sure you go check out Yorkie Ladder's Twitch channel because he's built some phenomenal ladders out of chocolate over the last few weeks. Go check it out. Go check it out. 100%. May not be true. Anyway, yeah. So in an ideal world, a console would be an iPad. And when I say that, I mean it's pretty much just a screen. That would be it. But the downside of that is if you play games on your iPad, you have to touch the screen. You have to have your fingers on the screen. You cover up the gameplay, and it's not as responsive as using something that has like full 360 control sticks. Digital controls are good and they've improved massively over the years, but they're still not the same. There's a reason we all play with controllers that are made specifically for that, as opposed to a screen that does the job of a controller. But when you're playing with a screen, Nintendo wants to kind of keep that smart straight line sort of look. Just build out the screen a little bit and have a little bit of space on the edge, which is where the Joy-Con sort of setup came in, or just the edges of the Switch Lite, which looks really nice. The console, there's no arguing, the console looks good, but the issue there is you've got top or bottom. You either have the thumbstick at the bottom or the thumbstick at the top, or both if you're using a Switch, because Nintendo have done that. But that's not the shape. There's nothing ergonomic about that. You look at a SCUF controller next to an Xbox controller. I have a PlayStation controller somewhere, but yeah, they don't have thumbsticks right on the edge of it. Their thumbsticks are quite well. Actually, I mean the Xbox top one is fairly close, but you've got a little bit of space for your hand to kind of wrap around the console, and you don't really have that with portable consoles because obviously, if they were to do that, they would be bigger or fatter or taller or whatever, and that kind of defeats the point of making it portable. So yeah, I think that's the issue. I do feel it more with the Joy Cons and Nintendo Joy Con versus most other things. I find them probably the most uncomfortable sticks to use. I think that's down to the the thinness of the Switch versus other things. So the Vita
Yeah.
was a little bit fatter. Had almost like a handly sort of feel to the side of it, whereas the Switch is just a really thin, almost tablet-sized product. SIS Enix has followed. Is that another version of the Enix, or is that someone new? If it is, then hey, welcome in. Dad and Lad Gaming. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
In unison for saying muted as well. Much appreciated. Baby's giving his thoughts and impressions of the blowing nose. We need to give our thoughts and impressions. Do it. Do it.
Very
Do you
good
know what?
point.
I will, next time I need to blow my nose, I will give you all of the mucus, and then you can drop your thoughts. And Mr. Beans TV as well. What a guy! What a guy! If you want to see some world class Tarkov playing, by the way, Dad and Lad Gaming and Beans have just dropped in. If you want to see some world class Tarkov playing, don't go anywhere near their channels because you will be severely let down. But if you want to see some mediocre gameplay, then check them out. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Beans was being a disruptive member of the backroom staff in Masters of the League last week, so that's what you get. I'm not joking. Feel free to check them out. Good guys, good guys. That's extremely accurate. We are wicked at camping. Do you know what? I know. I've played PUBG with Beans on stream, where we set up a world class bridge camp. Were you in that game as well, babe?
Maybe.
It was like going back a year or so, maybe more on PC. Me, Beans, I think
Yeah.
Precision, and possibly you. We'd set up a world class bridge camp on PUBG. A bridge camp is basically PUBG has bits of islands all separated by bridges, and when the circle goes one way, people have to cross the bridges. So we set up on this bridge to kill people as they came across the bridge. Nobody came across the bridge. It was 20 minutes of the most intense gameplay you have ever seen on Twitch. It's not. Yeah, it was us three in Precision on PC. Yeah, there you go. There you go. See, Bibi doesn't even remember. That's how dull it was. Was I there? I don't know. But yes, back into the story. A new Nintendo Switch model has been announced. Obviously, Bibi, we're talking about if you play handheld at the moment, you get 720. Mentioning that it would be nice to have 1080 or above, but yeah, the update here. So, what are your thoughts on a second report has corroborated the original EDN claims that the new Switch will release in 2021 and it could support 4K graphics? Do we feel that would be handheld, or are we thinking 1080 handheld, 4K docked? What are your thoughts?
I think that, yeah, I think that if it was going to do 4K, I think the dock would have to do all the legwork for that. I don't think that the console will be able to output it natively. Um, I think 1080p would be the dream for them to be able to have handheld gaming. I think being able to have that resolution, now they've got the experience in putting them together, I think that would be perfect for them. If they could output 4K, I think the dock would have to do all the legwork. I think
The dock would. The
I was
name.
waiting for that. When I was saying it, I thought he's gonna come in with something like
It's dark, Jim. Dark.
that. I
Actually,
think
he no longer exists on this platform. What am I on about? Shut up, Grim. He does. He does.
it will have to be a lot more expensive. I mean, to buy a Nintendo Switch now, I think is about £300. I think easily, if you're looking at 4K through the dock and then 1080 through through handheld natively, I think you're probably looking at the same price as you would do for a new gen console if they're able to do that. I don't know how much bigger the console would have to be able to try and have that kind of power. So I imagine the battery will need to be bigger, the motherboard will need to be bigger, the CPU needs to be the heat sinks that need to go inside will need to be bigger. So Christ knows how big that the console will be in your hands. Um, but yeah, I think you'll get quite a high price point if that is the case.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Sorry, I was tinkering then. Not only that, I mean, if we're looking, we don't have price points for our current roster of consoles that's on the horizon, and we're looking at 4K for that, and we're talking of 600-ish plus for a 4K
Hmm.
console that doesn't have a screen built in, that doesn't have controllers tacked onto the edge, that doesn't have. I mean, does the Switch have like accelerometer controls? Can you turn left and right with the Switch and do all that sort of stuff?
You mean gyro controls?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same sort of thing. It's the accelerometer is just the nerd word. There you go.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, all of that's in a Switch. If we're looking at 600 quidish for a 4K console, then you've got to feel, is that Nintendo? Are we looking at an extra expensive Switch? I mean, I think that's probably going to be the case. That's possibly part of the reason we've not had a 1080 Switch handheld before, not docked. Because cost. I mean, to get all of that into a device of that. I mean, if you can physically fit it in, for one thing, if it exists in small enough components that you can physically fit it in, that's the first issue. But then is okay. Well, get something that's small enough, that's cutting edge enough. It's going to cost a lot. So Nintendo are probably sat there thinking, okay, we would like a 1080p console or a 4K console, but let's rewind 2-3 years when the Switch first launched. They're going, okay, well that's going to be 800 quid. People 3-4 years ago were struggling to pay 800 quid for an iPhone. Never mind
Yeah.
a console that was not really understood. So they've probably gone, okay, well, we'll leave that as it is, and we're Nintendo. That means we can release 72 versions of this console over the next 5 years by upgrading everything slightly as well. So yeah, the dock, yeah. Jojo Lean, good morning! Exclamation mark lurk. Nope. Gotta look anyway. Exclamation mark fail. Says Beans. A nice little exchange in the chat. Good morning, boys. Good morning. Do you know what? I'm gonna set up an exclamation mark lurk. That's what I was originally going to do when Bibby said that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm doing something." That's what I was going to do. I was going to go look at exclamation mark alert, but I can't remember the short code for Streamlabs chatbot for name. So if you type in exclamation mark alert, it references your name in the chat. I wanted to do that, but I can't remember what the short code is. So I'll set it up after this anyway. Anyway, let's move forward. Actually, before we do, just jump back a little bit because there was a comment on the article. Sim says, this was inevitable but welcome. If the Switch Pro can do 4K, or close enough, and more importantly, push smoother frame rates, I'd play a lot more than I currently do outside of first-party games. See, that for me is a big thing. I don't play mobile games that often. Not that they're not enjoyable. It's kind of... Do you know what? Let's throw a complete curveball left field for an analogy. Beans on toast. Not related to Beans TV in the chat. That's a completely different thing. But beans on toast. Don't have it very often. I don't ever want to have beans on toast. I have beans on toast, and I'm like, oh my god, I fucking love beans on toast. Why don't I have beans on toast very often? That is me and mobile gaming and Switch to an extent. Why? Why would I do that? Why would I have beans on toast when I can have pizza or a burger or something like that? That's console gaming. Beans on toast is just it's good, but it's not as good. But then when you have it, when you're in the middle of console gaming, your Switch gaming or your mobile game, you're like, oh, fuck me, this is actually really good. I don't know why I don't do it. But as soon as you stop having beans on toast, you're like, oh, I want pizza and burgers again. And that's kind of what it is for me. Switch gaming and to an extent mobile gaming is beans on toast. I love it when I'm in it. When I'm immersed in it, it's fine. But from the outside, because it looks jagged, it looks like, obviously, previous gen software. I'm like, I don't want to play it. I play it and then I'm loving it. It's amazing again. So if the Switch comes out with 4K graphics, then that's a game changer for me. If I'm loading up a 4K game on my TV and it looks a 4K game, I've got a 4K TV that's big for all the joys of having it all in all seeing all dancing colours, and I'm still playing low res games. It kind of loses me. So 4K is a big game changer for me. Cheesy beans on toast. To be fair, I did kind of assume that was what we were talking about. If you don't have cheese or at least a big dollop of butter in your beans, why? You've let yourself down. You've let us all down. You've let us all down. If you haven't had cheese or butter in your beans, then try it. It'll change your world. It'll change your world. Just add beans on toast, says Dad and Lad. Nice.
Great style.
Anyway,
I think the next big thing for them though is if they want to try
beans?
and
Go on, tell us about the next thing about beans.
if Nintendo want to, I mean, I don't think Nintendo need to break into another market because they're doing. Obviously, they've done well enough for the last 35 years to be able to not need to break into the AAA market. They've got AAA games on there, but I think to be taken seriously as a proper AAA console, the only way that they can do that is moving to 1080 and 4K. Eventually, like it's not a necessity for them. They've built a career off selling Mario and Zelda games, of which they're fair enough, they are AAA games, but they are a different breed to the likes of Call of Duty and Wolfenstein or Doom or whatever other AAA games. We had obviously Metro on there recently, or any sports franchises like FIFA, NBA. Obviously, PGA has just gone onto there now as well. So they've got a variety of games that are AAA indie games and things like that that will boost the profile of a Nintendo Switch. But to be able to have, I think they're looking to think people want a AAA experience. They want the same experience that they'll get on a console on the go, but they can't achieve that yet because it's so it's the difference between them is so large at this moment in time that unless you're sat playing it in your front room in the dock, the difference is too much to be able to consider a great experience, especially if you're playing handheld. So I think for them to be able to have or get close to console gaming's power and output, I don't think they'll be considered as the best place to play those games if that's the case.
I
I think that's what they're aiming for.
didn't subject the stream to the nose blinding, by the way. Just bit. VFM Evertonian says, or is that Everton Ian? I don't know. I don't know. Let me know. Says, I play the majority of my games on PS4 and Xbox One, but we have 2 Switches in this house. My 5-year-old son wouldn't be without it. I do a lot of work away, and the Switch is great for me to kill time in the airport or on a cruise ship, etc. Do you know what? That's kind of relatable here. Apart from, I mean, slight differences. My 5-year-old son is an 11-year-old daughter, and we have the consoles and PCs and stuff in the house too. We only have one Switch, but it is great for that sort of stuff. Chloe, if she stays out, then she can go to a friend's house and they can continue playing Fortnite. If Chloe's at home, she's playing Fortnite with the friends. If Chloe goes to her friends, they still play Fortnite. But it just means that they can be sat in the same room, like me and Bib have done in the office. I'll use one of the office PS4s, and Bibby will just dock his Switch and link it up to one of the monitors in the office, and then we'll just have a Fortnite game in the office kind of thing, because, excuse me, it works really well in that sort of sense. I've travelled to Gamescoms and to esports events and so on with work, and the Switch is just that. Yeah, that's it. That's boom. It's airport material. Me and Bibby sat in Cologne Airport on the way back from Gamescom last year, balls deep into a FIFA game, like one of the legacy things or whatever. But anyway, yeah, exactly. Forget what we're playing. It is really good for that. But that's kind of at the moment where it stops for me. That it becomes the thing that I rely on in an airport. It becomes the thing that I rely on an airplane or on a train, or when I'm not my setup, it becomes the alternative then. But by giving it 4K and giving it full 1080p so it looks pristine, that's when it steps up, kind of thing. I don't mind you blowing your nose as long as you don't do what I used to do. And show us what was in it. Lol, said David. Yes, there you go. Insights into the real world. Anyway, moving forward, 1080p, 4K, and all those graphics, Bib said, would give us new games potentially on the Switch. I mean, we've got quite a lot in terms of Doom and so on, PGAs and stuff now. Could we start to get even better Call of Duties? Like, I don't know, maybe the new one that's just been released or just been announced and leaked. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. And speaking of which, that's the next story. What a link. Yay! Black Ops Cold War is a direct sequel to the original Game Files reveal. This article, by the way, is less than an hour old. It was like 5 minutes old as we were going live. So new Call of Duty looks set for cross-gen release. A significant Call of Duty leak has revealed the first details on Black Ops Cold War ahead of its full reveal on Wednesday. So if you want to watch all of the Call of Duty stuff firsthand and don't have any spoilery stuff, then you probably want to just kind of stop listening for the next 5 minutes or so, because obviously this is all leaked stuff that will be coming tomorrow. So according to the info uncovered in free-to-play Warzone's latest update by COD Tracker and Modern Warzone, Cold War is described as the direct sequel to the original Black Ops and is set for release on PC and current and next-gen consoles in November. Cold War's campaign will take place during the 1980s and see players battle alongside Woods, Mason, and Hudson in East Berlin, Vietnam, Turkey, Soviet KGB headquarters, and more. As elite operatives, you will follow the trail of a shadowy figure named Perseus, who is on a mission to destabilize the global balance of power and change the course of history, a data mine blurb reads. Descend into the dark center of this global conspiracy alongside iconic characters Woods, Mason, and Hudson, and a new cast of operatives attempting to stop a plot decades in the making. Alongside the campaign, players will bring a Cold War arsenal of weapons and equipment into multiplayer and zombies modes, the data-mined info states. So there you go. It doesn't look like they go into detail, so I'll read out through some of the tweets. So these are the tweets from @Modern Warzone. Upcoming leaked Warzone game modes: Pandemic/Outbreak, Armored Cargo/Truck Wars, Plunder Fire Sale, Zombie Royale. Upcoming leaked multiplayer modes: Shiptember to Shootember, All Shoot House, All Shipment for a whole month. Interesting. Shipment for an entire month. Realism Ground War Reinforce. Night mode is coming to Warzone. Nightfall solos, duos, trios, and quads have been added to the files with a mid-season update of Modern Warfare. So nighttime. And then the intro video for Sergeant Frank Woods in Warzone. I won't hit play on the video, but if you check out @Modern Warzone, you'll be able to see all those tweets and more on the Twitter feed. So there's little info on how the game will interact. You know what? I'll hit play on it now whilst I'm reading through this a little bit. There's little info on how the game will integrate with Warzone, and VG understands Wednesday's event will focus solely on Cold War's content, but does seemingly confirm Woods as a pre-order bonus. According to Modern Warzone, Warzone's latest update makes reference to a nighttime mode, Zombies Battle Royale, and more, and the full Black Ops Cold War reveal event will take place within free-to-play Warzone on Wednesday, August 26th at 6:30 p.m. BST. So 6:30 tomorrow evening if you want to see the event take place in game. Furthermore, additional information on the Treyarch and Raven software title will be revealed during Gamescom opening night live on Thursday, August 27th. Officially announced Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War last week with a teaser trailer following a week-long alternate reality game in Call of Duty Warzone. On the subject of opening night live, that takes place from, I believe, 7:30 till 10 on Thursday. We may be doing a live watch along. So if you want to see all of the Call of Duty reveal stuff and anything else from opening night live, and you're not just happy seeing the likes of Jeff Keighley and co, then maybe come and sit and watch it with We've Got Babino and co. I speak. Come and watch it with Bibby and me. And maybe Mr. A another. We will see. We will see announcements coming soon. But yeah,
Who knows?
We do. We know, babe. We know.
We know.
Yeah. Before we jump into that Call of Duty news, let's just have a quick look at the next story because it ties in and is a little bit different. Call of Duty streamer gets ridiculous Gulag win using drum kit. Symbolic victory. Symbolic. Written by Emma Kent for Eurogamer. After someone managed to play their way through Minecraft and slay the Ender Dragon using a piano keyboard, I thought I'd seen it all. Yet we have another entry in the instruments as controllers category, and it's rather spectacular. As posted to the Modern Warfare subreddit, streamer Dino Bino managed to get a kill with a sniper rifle using a real drum kit, limited to hitting only 2 controls at once, with each drum and cymbal bound to a specific function. Dino Bino managed to painstakingly line up a shot before acing the timing on the last beat. The cymbal crash at the end really adds something, I think. There we go. Do you know what? Let's click through, have a watch of this. This is a tweet from Dino Bino. Let's go full screen. This is a Twitter video as well. So if it looks like you are looking at a potato through a piece of cling film, that is why.
Why, man? Why?
How good is that? Moving around with drums. Oh.
Oh!
Melted!
Shit. I fucking did it! Oh, shit!
He's an absolute beast.
Oh! Oh! Oh, shit! I fucking did it! Oh, shit!
Do you know what? Well done. GG.
Oh my god! Why, man?
There we go. Anyway, so there you go. You can kill people with cymbals and drum kits and whatever in the Gulag. But enough of that. Call of Duty Cold War has been leaked. It will be a sequel to the original Call of Duty Black Ops series and comes with a bunch of new game modes, including zombie multiplayer, zombie royales, whatever that is, and night modes, and so on. Bib, thoughts?
I do like the night mode more than anything. I think that'd be really cool. I mean, I'm all for the Cold War weapons and lore and everything around that. Anyway, I'm at this moment in time, I'm more interested about to see what they're going to do with Warzone, because I think that's where people are getting the most enjoyment out of Call of Duty at the moment. So their plots to completely change Warzone is where my interest is. Even though I'm not in that ecos, I'm not in the Modern Warfare system. I'm not playing Team Deathmatch. I'm not playing Warzone that much. I'm more interested to see from other people's perspective who play this game, and it is their main game at the moment, to see where all of these changes are going to take place. But surely they're going to have to change Warzone. Surely they're not going to keep it the same.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing for me. I think that's one thing I will give Activision, and obviously if it works with this Treyarch and Raven software, is a big high five in how they've dealt with. Had a meeting. What did I miss? Me blowing my nose. There's a 4K Nintendo Switch potentially coming, and now we're talking about Black Ops Cold War. Some guy managed to win a Gulag fight on on Call of Duty Warzone using a drum kit. Facts. Anyway, so yeah, I can't remember what we were saying before that. Oh yeah, that was it. I like how they've developed Warzone in terms of it's something that has had fresh content, has been new. They've definitely been influenced by Fortnite and how they've used the season pass effectively in game to sell people cosmetics as opposed to loot boxes. There is shit loads of cosmetics that, in my opinion, aren't very interesting compared to like the thing with the Fortnite cosmetic is you get Harley Quinn or the Joker or Kylo Ren or whatever you want, and they all, even though you're the exact same character doing the exact same moves and you've just got different, literally just the skin on it, everything else about it the same. It feels a bit more personal, whereas in Call of Duty Warzone, they're all big butch blokes or whatever. I mean, obviously there's female characters too, but like all the bloke guys pretty much are rinse and repeat the same. They're all like called Bomb Flutter, and they all stand there looking badass with their angry faces, and it's like, oh great, badass angry first person in a ghillie, badass angry first person in a vest, badass angry, and it's just like they're all the different. They're all entirely different and the same in their quest to be different. It's exactly the same thing. So I'm not really bothered about the cosmetic stuff. However, that's definitely worked for them because they're not having to do the DLC and the season pass stuff where people get content locked out behind paywalls and so on. But their purchasers, I think we covered it a couple of months back. They're actually selling more, doing more, turning over more currency in game using the season pass mentality as opposed to just the one-off game content season pass, the battle pass mentality as opposed to the season pass, which is game content. Well, say pass more times, Graham. I think people need a few more passes. So that works. The way that they've kind of progressed forward and they're dropping the content in the game with the bunkers, they now have their live sort of event happening in the game on Wednesday, which is once again learning from what's happened elsewhere. Not copying Fortnite, but learning from it. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone learns from everyone else, and we progress as an industry. You have to take inspiration from the best. If not, you're not gonna take it a step further. But yeah, the issue though, like you say, is how does that change going forward? When you get Black Ops Cold War, which is set around the 80s and 90s, you've got that, and you've got 2020 technology. How do you mash them together? How do you merge them together? Having a night mode is easy enough. It's just another lobby, just another queue, or just another limited time mode where you'll get some days you can play quads, some days you can play solos, some days you can play trios, some days you can play plundered solos or whatever. They'll just put night maps in. That's it. It's just a pre-modifier, or you'll all just jump onto the night map, and it'll just be a random, like weather sort of condition kind of thing. That's easy enough to do, but how do they get all the rest of it in and balance it? If they can do a good job with that, I don't know how they would though. But if they can, then that's it. Then that's the plan set for the next 3-5 years. We're just going to keep doing that. Black Ops Cold War. Then we'll go back to a Modern Warfare 2 or something like that, or whatever follows after that. If they can get the change from present to past to far past to the future to present from year to year, if they can bridge those gaps, then we'll just see them sticking to those guns until the industry evolves around that again. Sticking to their guns. It should have been the joke drumbeat and then a hit on the cymbal, but I'm dead. Only we care about Warzone and its campaign. As long as you can still play Warzone as it is, plus newer options, I'm okay. Like the night stuff, I would play that. So yeah, I love stuff like that. I mean, I've been through this already because I play a little bit of PUBG, don't you know? Don't you know?
Really?
Yeah, it's nice having those extra things. I would much rather have the same map that I've come to know and love. If you get a map right, people want to play it forever. It's a simple fact. People love Shipment. People hate Shipment as well because they got the right feeling. Just enough size, just enough cover, just enough chaos. People love Rust just because it's perfect for that 1v1 sort of setup. People love Crash on COD 4 and things like that. People like maps that live forever. Nuketown's another one. That's kind of the same idea as Shipment kind of thing. But good maps live on forever. That's why everyone likes Erangel on PUBG. And PUBG added Vikendi, and then they added a night mode to Vikendi. It's the same map. I mean, not that people really love Vikendi, but the idea is give them something they enjoy and then give them a different version of it. So rather than it being vibrant sun burning down, you got fog rolls in, or you might have a rainstorm, or it might be nighttime. See, that sort of stuff I love, because if you just have one queue for the game, you're going into Verdansk for Warzone, that's fine, but you might go in blazing hot summer. You might go in cold as feck winter. You might go in middle of the night. I love that sort of like differing real world dynamic sort of weather situation. I mean, not dynamic to the point it changes in game, but I do like that random natural element to it. Obviously, it does come with issues from knowing with PUBG. A lot of people didn't like the night modes on PUBG because it was either too dark or it was too bright or it's OP, something's not that. But it's just balance. That's just balance. I would absolutely welcome stuff like that. Chapper says, I'm still similar, but swap Warzone with multiplayer because I can't really stand Battle Royale games. I hope the multiplayer has a good map design and is balanced. If it had that, I'll be all over it because Cold War, yes please. I don't know if we're aware, but Chappers is a bit of a Cold War nerd. He said himself yesterday. So, nerd! Need Nelson. Anyway, let's move forward because we are 50 minutes in and we've still got a few stories to jump into. But Black Ops Cold War is a direct sequel to the original game. Someone has leaked from the original files. If you want to see all of the information on that, then tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. BST, there will be. Actually, what day are we on? Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Tomorrow. You can tell I'm not in lockdown mentality still. What day is it? But yes. Tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. the event will happen in game. If you want to see that, if you miss that, obviously we'll keep you caught up Thursday morning. But Thursday evening, it will be featured in the opening night live event stream live coverage stuff that we will do too. So just basically just follow Ice Cream Uploads right now. And that way you'll never miss anything. Nice. Next bit of news. Did you think that's nice, babe? I think that's nice. Nice.
That's nice.
Bean says, nerd! Just need Home Simpson pulling up in a car. Like, do you know, if someone can get me that on a green screen thing, I'll have it as a Stream Deck button where I can press it and it just comes driving in from the side. Nerd! And drives back out again. No? Okay, fine. Leave me with my JFK conspiracies in peace, damn it. Anyway, moving ahead. Unlike Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is set in Rocksteady's Arkham universe, written by Sherif Saed for VG247. We covered all of the happenings from the DC fandom yesterday, so this is just a little bit of a recap for that. But it may have not looked like it, but Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's world is the same one where the Arkham games took place. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League developer Rocksteady has confirmed that the game does indeed take place in the Arkham universe, the studio established all those years ago. I mean, when I'm reading out loud and we're kind of short for time, I tend to speed up anyway, so some words do get merged, but studio established became stublished.
There you go.
Merged. But yes, this is interesting because although Batman does not show up, it is assumed that the Harley Quinn scene in the reveal trailer is the same one we ran into in the Arkham games. In fact, according to Rocksteady co-founder Sefton Hill, Suicide Squad will continue certain plot threads from those games. That said, Kill the Justice League does, of course, take place in Metropolis rather than Gotham, so you shouldn't...
Expect they've missed a word out there, haven't they?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll add it in. So you shouldn't expect every character from Arkham to show up. This is a continuation of the Arkhamverse, so a lot of the threads and storylines you're going to see come to fruition in this game, said Hill, though without elaborating any further beyond that. This is the inverse of the Gotham Knight situation, where players immediately assume the story takes place after the events of Arkham Knight, only for developer WB Games Montreal to clarify that it does not, and is in fact set in a new world separate from the Arkham games. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is much further away than Gotham Knights, so expect details on the former to be fairly slim compared to the latter going into the next year. The game is in development for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. See, this kind of sent me west a little bit. I thought, okay, we've got the Batman games, the Arkham games that I've never played, and everyone tells me you need to play that. That's what I was going to say. Everyone tells me you need to play these. These are big games. These are like bad boy games. How have you not played these games? So I'm thinking, okay, we've got these games that have been established as smashing it. So Batman, Arkham, bow, bow, bow. Gotham Knights is gonna follow that, and then the Suicide Squad, which is set in Metropolis, which is Superman timeline, is not gonna follow that. But no, it's completely the opposite way around. The ones that is Suicide Squad set in Metropolis follows the Arkham storylines, but the one that's Gotham that's set in Arkham follows new storylines. It doesn't follow. But anyway, that's just me as someone that hasn't played the games. As someone that has played the games and is currently rubbing his face. Bib, thoughts?
So I got the most insane chap. I slept with the window open last night, so my lips are chapped. But yeah, I mean,
Chappers
both of
man
these
meet
games.
chapped man.
Both of these games I'm super looking forward to. It's interesting. I didn't know where the timeline was going to be with both of these. And it seems like we're getting a little bit of clarification. I mean, we're not going to know more, especially with this one, because it's not going to come out for another 2 years. I'm interested to see where we're going to end up with these. Gotham Knights, I think, is probably the one that I'm looking forward to most. That said, both of them look great. So yeah, it's just a little bit of information that I don't remember seeing or talking about yesterday when it comes to timelines. Obviously, we went through all the DC film. An hour would never be long enough to be able to go through everything that we went through yesterday. Obviously, we had more stories, so hearing more stuff as we go along, especially from a Batman fan, excites me. I'm very interested to see the people in the chat as well who have potentially played these games, see where they stand with them. But yeah, both of them look amazing. I think though that the Gotham Knights may tickle my fancy a little bit more, but the Suicide Squad one looks just as good as well. So I'm just happy that we get more Batman games. Actually, we'll just say call them DC games for this. Obviously, from the trailer, Suicide Squad, Spider-Man, Superman's going to be making an appearance, and it looks like he's going to be a villain. So I'm interested to see where that storyline goes.
Yeah. I mean, they were very different games, and this is as someone that hasn't played the Arkham games as well. My impression of them is obviously really good combat system. Everyone talks about it. It's influenced multiple games that follow on from that. Nice. Okay, so we know there's good combat, we know there's fighting, and so on. And then it's dark. It's got that dark Batman sort of vibe. Okay, so I thought Gotham Knights absolutely was going to be the game that followed on from that. Whereas if you look at Suicide Squad, because obviously it's a daylight trailer, I think that's maybe it. The daylight versus the nighttime sort of trailers that we saw. One looked more like an Arkham, what I had in my mind, and the other one, like were the Arkham games serious? Were they kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah? So I kind of got that, but then the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Obviously, I think maybe it's the character differences. So when you focus on Batman, he's like angsty, serious, and always like melancholic sort of tone. Whereas the Suicide Squad
Yeah.
are like, if you've got Harley Quinn in it, then it's always going to be sort of like
Humorous.
chaos kind of thing. So yeah, maybe that's where my disconnecting that comes from. But still, they both look like very different and very good games. From games, I say trailers. The trailers for both of those games look decent. The gameplay stuff that I saw, I didn't watch the full 8-minute video from Gotham Knights, also look ridiculously good as well, by the way. So can't wait to not play those games going forward. I'll add them to my list of games that I never play. Yeah. It's all right, maybe we'll play them all at the same time.
Absolutely. Every day.
Every day I'm playing it. Anyway, moving ahead. Next story. New PlayStation tech can detect users by how they hold their controllers. Newly approved patent describes a system that detects the telemetry of controller use. Written by Andy Robertson yesterday for VGC, this article says a newly approved PlayStation patent describes technology that can automatically detect the user's identity by how they hold their game controller. Sony Interactive Entertainment's patent for a method of authentication was filed in February and approved last week, reports Segment Next. The patent describes a system that uses sensors, such as gyroscope and accelerometer, to determine the identity of specific users by how they hold their controller, and thus automatically log them in or out of their profiles when they use it. The tech would remove the need for users to manually log into their accounts, the patent says, and would properly attribute scores and trophies to the correct user when 2 or more players were sharing a controller. The patent suggests that telemetry data would be used to identify the user and attributed to their user profiles. Certain characteristics, such as the vertical position that the user typically certain characteristics, such as the vertical position that the user typically holds the controller, as well as the orientation, such as one holding one side slightly higher than the other, would be identified over a certain period of time, such as 60 seconds. If the data passes the system's confidence test, a prompt would then allow users to accept or reject the detected user profile. The patent indicates that the technology could work with a number of devices, including a dual shock controller, Move, and a PSVR headset, although it's not clear if it will be present in PS5. PlayStation is heavily promoting the features of the PS5's Dual Sense controller in its marketing for the new console. And there was a TV ad last week and stuff. So rather than doing the face scan sort of stuff or the voice login or actual login details, you can now potentially be logged into a PS5 by holding a controller. That seems bizarre to me.
Yeah, and
what
the
are your-
award for the most the stupidest tech of the year goes to I don't understand this. Like, if I'm sat on the sofa with Samantha and we're playing, I don't know, Fall Guys, I'm playing it with how I play it. I pass her the control. Is it going to sign me out and instantly sign her in? That just seems like a ball ache. It's so pointless.
the thing for me is, to give a different analogy. If you see someone sat there looking all natural and stuff, you're like, oh, that's what someone actually looks like. Soon as you pick your camera up to take a photo of them looking natural and they see you, they change their pose, they smile, they become aware. Everything is different about them, their mannerisms, and so on. So if you're playing your PlayStation game, let's say you sit and your hands naturally rest on your lap or whatever. You're pointing the controller almost at the floor because you're so chilled out. Soon as someone says, okay, hold the controller how you normally hold it, you think about it and you're already holding it a different way. So you may hold it with it pointing down like that, not realize. And someone goes, okay, hold the controller how you normally hold it. You just go like that, and it's like, no, it's completely facing a different direction now. So how does that work? I mean, if they're monitoring you over 60 seconds of time, it's like someone going, pretend we are not here and play the game how you normally play it. Imagine if you're stood there like that, trying to set it up. More often than not, if you're stood in front of a TV, you don't stand with the controller down at your crotch. You stood there with it up at your chest, kind of thing like that. Because if you're not sat down comfortable, you'll be sat there. And if you're setting something up, you're not always going to be sat down either. You might be faffing plugging things in, new wires. Imagine you've just got your PS5. You've dragged all the wires out the back of the TV. You've got it plugged in. Your PS5's not even in the unit. It's just stood there on the floor or whatever. You've got it plugged in by the USB cable because your controller's naturally dead when it's first turned up. So you stood there, plugged in, pad stood up like that, and it's going, this is Graham. Nice. Next time I come in, I'm chilled out. I'm not aware. I'm sat on the couch, just leaned back, controller on my lap, and it's like, who the fuck are you? And it's like how do you not know? This is me. But yeah, I'm not convinced. I mean, there is some nice stuff in it. Like, if me and Bib are playing Fall Guys, and Bib has a run, and then gets really far, smashes it, and gets a trophy for fastest win or whatever. Boom, trophy, Bib. Passes the controller to me. I'm not playing as Bib. It's like, oh, that's Graham. So then I do my run, and it gets me whatever. I like that. But beyond that, no, I'm not sure. It seems... I know it's only a patent. It's not necessarily gonna be in PS5 stuff or anything ever, but I'm not sure. It seems bizarre. It seems bizarre to me. I wonder if they could detect who I am by how many times I've thrown the controller across the room, says Adam Lad Gaming. Good tech. Salty Dog says seems pointless to me. I'd rather not pay for this. Chapper says this is dad because of the force and angle of the throw. What's the problem with just selecting a profile?
Yeah, surely you'd spend more time in the menus because every time you pass the pad over or whatever, it's not just. I don't think it'll be instant. It'll go through the menu. It'll bring up the UI. It'll say now signing in, and then Samantha's name, and then it'll come out the window. It's just, yeah. Is it the award for the most pointless bit of tech of the year goes to it's dumb.
And if it doesn't do that, if it just goes, if you, like me and you sat there, let's go back to the Fall Guys example. You have a go, and you just pass it to me. And do you know, like when you're playing on games on the PSN now, and you just get that little bit that comes at the top that flashes in saying Graham Day is now online. Graham Day has a message saying sub to ICU, because that's what I always do when Baby's streaming. By the way, just saying. You get that little, like, if Baby passes the pad to me and it goes Graham Day signed in, and I pass it to Baby and it goes we've got Babinho signed in, passes it back to me, Graham Day signed in. Okay, that sounds nice in principle, but what if Baby passes it to me, I do some fucking world-class run, and I'm just about at the end of it, and I change because of the stress and the tension. I'm sat, not with my pad down, but my pad pointing up, and it changes to, we've got Babinho signed in, and Baby gets this fucking trophy that I worked my ass off for, like, it was me! It was me! But so, what's the best thing there? break the immersion by saying, "Do you want to sign in as Bib, or
Yeah.
just give it to Bib?" And if it just gives it to Bib, can I claim it back afterwards? There's a lot of questions in there. Obviously, it's just a patent for tech. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be anything ever or soon, if not ever. But yeah, I like the idea, the principle of using telemetry for things like that, so that it can be more seamless and smarter. But we need more information before we can make any real logic of that. What if you suffer a serious injury and it affects your body massively? Exactly. What if it's not even that serious? Baby just plays golf, goes for a swing, pulls a muscle, and suddenly is leaning sideways for a few days. Does he then become like, we've got Bobby in you or someone? Nope, sorry, you're not Bibby, you're Bobby. You're a different person. I can tell from the way you're holding the controller. But it's me. No, we know it's not your Bobinho. So yeah. Anyway, weird tech coming to PS5 controllers. But yeah, I mean, we know that anyway. We still got to figure out how the adaptive triggers and stuff work. So let's deal with that stuff before we start looking at telemetry and all that, because that, I mean, that could change things. If you have adaptive triggers that can be turned on or turned off and so on, will that change the way that different people hold the controller if it's turned on or if it's turned off? And yeah, it seems bizarre. But speaking of bizarre situations, we have an update on the Epic Apple battle. Like I said, we'll keep coming back to this as the story unfolds. I will scroll down. This article written by Emma Kent for Eurogamer says Microsoft sides with Epic in legal battle with Apple, and then update: judge temporarily protects Unreal Engine but not Fortnite. So if I scroll down, where is it? There. The original story is what we touched on yesterday, so I won't read through this. Basically, Apple and Epic are at loggerheads. People charge a bunch of money to have games appear on their platforms. Epic don't want to spend that money, and they don't feel everyone else should be. It's monopolistic and all of that stuff. So they've games have been pulled. They've tried to circumvent rules and all that. Blah, blah, they're at loggerheads. You can't now play Fortnite on iOS. Okay, that's understandable. But now Apple are threatening to pull anything that Epic has in terms of developer accounts, which then has impacts on the Unreal Engine. And Unreal Engine is used in games that's not just owned by Epic. So lots of other developers are developing games using their engine. And in pulling all of those accounts, that wouldn't just threaten Epic and Fortnite, but it would threaten any other game that uses the Unreal Engine. So Epic appealed for a restraining order to protect the Unreal accounts and everything like that, and Microsoft backed them, and that is where we got to yesterday, and this is the update to that story now. So update 25th of the 8th, 2020. Oh, no, I said yesterday. This is today's update. Okay, Epic Games has seen partial success in seeking a restraining order. Actually, now I say that, Bib did say that when this story came out just before we went live, so yeah, maybe listen to Bib in future, Graham, eh? Epic Games has seen partial success in seeking a restraining order against Apple, with the company ordered not to block Unreal Engine or terminate Epic's developer accounts on iOS and Mac, temporarily at least. As ruled by US District Judge Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers, the temporary restraining order prevents Apple from limiting Epic's ability to support Unreal Engine, a move that would have impacted studios and game creators who use the game. Epic Games and Apple are at liberty to litigate against each other, but their dispute should not create havoc to bystanders, Rogers wrote via The Verge. Apple has chosen to act severely, and by doing so has impacted non-parties and third-party developer ecosystem. In this regard, the equities do weigh against Apple. The restraining order does not extend to Apple's removal of Fortnite from the App Store, however, as Rogers found that Epic Games strategically chose to breach its agreements with Apple and thus disrupted the status quo. The court finds that with respect to Epic Games' motion as to its games, including Fortnite, Epic Games has not yet demonstrated irreparable harm. The current predicament appears of its own making, Rogers added. She noted that since the blocking of Fortnite could be solved by rolling back the update and that added the alternative payment system, Epic Games could not argue it had been dealt irreparable harm. The court ruling is intended to maintain the status quo until the companies make their full arguments for a preliminary injunction, which would determine whether Apple can take action against Fortnite or Unreal Engine. Rogers has set the first hearing for this on the 28th of September. The legal process will likely drag on for months, as Epic's counsel has said it would need 4 to 6 months to prepare for trial, while Apple wants the trial to take place in 10 months. In the meantime, it's good news for studios who rely on Unreal for their iOS and macOS games, who will no longer have to worry about potential disruption. For now, at least. We've got Bobinho. Thoughts? Oh wait, sorry, you were holding your controller differently than it's Bibby. Sorry, I understand. Fine. Continue.
Again, this is just another bump in the road. Where it said yesterday about Microsoft teaming up with Epic. Uh, I actually don't know what to say with this because it's just an ever evolving thing. It's more. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It just seems to get more and more complex every single time, which we knew it would do. Which is why obviously we said that we're just going to update this as we go along. Um, Having an injunction against against something, it's just, I don't know. Honestly don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say.
The interesting thing is that the judges have gone. I mean, where you'd expect. Fortnite, and well, the decisions around Fortnite, Epic's decisions to put the payment systems in, which circumvents the iOS payment system, the in-app purchase payment system, where Apple takes 30%, can easily be removed. That was put in by Epic. Apple didn't change anything that made Epic do that. So Epic could still exist in an ecosystem where they make shitloads of money.
Yeah.
So they haven't gone in favor of Fortnite in that sort of sense. They've said, okay, if you want that to stop, you can stop that at any point in time by going back. Which is understandable, completely understandable. In the eyes of the letter of the law, as it is, Apple aren't in the wrong there. That is a system that makes sense. However, like I said, going forward, that might change in 6 months or 10 months or however long it is before the trial starts to take place between them. That trial could then change the law and say, okay, this is the law, but it's not a good law, so it needs to change. That could change going forward. But for now, as you'd expect, the law is being upheld by people who uphold the law. They've said, well, you're the one in the wrong as it stands. If you want to make change, if you want that to change going forward, then that is something that we will have to deal with in time. But for now, no, we can do nothing for you there. But the other people that are being dragged into this, so Apple have done a very Apple thing. It's like having a fly land on your arm. It's annoying as fuck. And the fly is the Fortnite situation. Rather than just going, get away, and dealing with the fly, Apple have gone, okay, we're going to teach this fly a lesson. Just suddenly, like, got a Molotov cocktail and loved it. And big flame. Everything else is getting set on fire. And the everything else is the other companies. They've been dragged into this situation. Rather than just dealing with the annoying fly, Apple have gone, we're going to make a statement here. We're going to take everything away. We are going to powerhouse move you into stopping the situation, because if we take Unreal Engine off, then yeah, Epic will survive, probably. They've got the Epic Games Store, they've got consoles, they've got Fortnite everywhere else, but all of the other companies that offer good revenue streams as well, they will be massively affected, and that forces Epic's hand. It's kind of like the you'll see it in a film. You'll get some badass superhero or something, and it's like, I can't be changed. You can't change my opinions, and I'm gonna be a badass, and it's like, yeah, but we know where your mum lives, and we've got a hostage now, and it's like, oh fuck, okay, well she's been dragged into it. I've been forced to change my hand, and that's what Apple kind of done. They've kidnapped the mother, the Aunt Sue or fucking whatever, and gone, okay, we're holding her hostage now, so now you have to do what you want. So shitty moves on both sides, depends on where you stand in the whole kind of argument. But at least the courts have come in and said, okay, you two deal with your shitty stuff, but don't bring Aunt Meg or fucking damn it Meg. Don't bring those into the conversation. You deal with your own shit. Don't drag other people down with you. For now, at least, as it says at the end of the update, which is probably the best that we could hope for right now. Let the lawsuit continue. Let everyone else have their fights, but don't let a big shitty sweeping move by Apple punish other people and other games. PES, for example, is being developed on Unreal Engine for 2022 or whatever it was, as the update, as we found out in a video on PES YouTube a couple of weeks ago. I mean, if Unreal has been pulled, so I know that's only for Mac OS and iOS, but what if PES wants to come out on Mac? Will that develop, like, influence their development and stuff? PES has nothing to do with Fortnite, but they could be impacted in terms of their development plans and so on. So Yeah, Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers, the district judge, squashing that straight away is absolutely the best move. We've got Babinho. Sounds like a comic book villain to Bibe in a story we will never get to read.
Mhm.
No, it's we've got Babinho and you've got Bobinho. So we've got Babinho, you've got Bobinho. That's what it should be. For now, we can just use Armand Asante, Judge Rico gifts law. Otherwise, this is a wait and see. Exactly. That's it. It's a wait and see. We mentioned that the other day. Not much will change. I didn't expect it to be 10 months before we even kick off the court case, and even that then could roll on forever. But this is going to be a long going thing, unless they get something agreed behind the scenes, which is very possible. Quite often, big things like this get dealt with out of the courts. So PUBG filed against Epic for copying their game, and then it went away. And you kind of have to
Yeah.
feel there was discussions there. Obviously, PUBG is made by PUBG Corp, which Tencent has a huge investment in. Tencent has a huge investment in Epic Games, and you've got to feel that they've gone, okay, let's sort this shit out. Do you know what? Let's just rather than costing both companies shitloads, which loses Tencent shitloads of money, let's just sort shit out. So you kind of feel that this will get sorted before it goes to court, but you know, it might not do. Depends on how stubborn they are. Dumb question. Does Apple get 30% from Fortnite if it's free to the point of using the in-game store for cosmetics and season pass? Apple is free. Fortnite is free. So obviously, Apple gets 30% of nothing for when they download and install the game. But if you buy the season pass for $8.99, Apple takes 30%. Because if you buy it on the phone, you buy it through Apple's system, they take 30% immediately for using their payment system. And that's where the issue is Apple says, yeah, of course you can make purchases, but you only are able to use our system, and we have to take 30%. There is no other option, which is where it's the monopolizing of the payment system, because there is possibilities for having other systems in there, but out of the guise of security, which isn't always the best way, as we saw with PlayStation and the cross-party thing. PlayStation didn't want cross-platform play because of security, aka we're already successful. We don't need that step. That's kind of where Apple are in that sort of sense. But yeah, any skins that cost you £3, £15, £25, whatever, Apple takes 30% immediately. And that's where that comes from, because they don't really do anything. But they have the massive system. But, and there's all sorts of backwards and forwards that we're not going to jump into right now, because we are going to end today's episode of The Scoop right here. We are going to go offline. We'll be back online with some PUBG, so if you do want to watch some mediocre BR gameplay, then feel free to stick around. If you don't, then, you know, whatever, don't tell me. You do what you want to do. I'm bothered. I didn't want you to be here anyway, so whatever. Anyway, we are coming back, at 10 a.m.-ish in the morning with The Scoop, though. But, do you know what? There may be a Mafia stream this evening. There may be.
Oof.
Oof. So, for those of you who don't know, 2K gave us Mafia, the definitive edition, which includes Mafia 2, Mafia 3, and the remake of the original Mafia, which will be out at the end of next month. So we've started our playthrough of Mafia 2. We've got 2 episodes in. We've probably got maybe 1 or 2, possibly 3 at a push, episodes left. So me and my better half, Danielle, will potentially be playing through that this evening. We will put some social stuff out. It's Muscle Moose. But thanks, Madge. Love you. Yeah, we're potentially playing through that this evening, so keep your eyes on our social medias. Madge has put all of the links in the chat now. So thanks, Madge. What a guy. Obviously, the theme of Mafia is keep it in the family. So me and Danielle, in a true family way, are going to be playing through that potentially this evening. Episode 3 could be on the way. Like I said, the best way to keep in touch is to keep your eye on the socials, as Precision has said, very much so. Before we do jump off, before we start playing PUBG, and before we do Mafia and come back with more scoops and stuff tomorrow, babe, is there anything you want to add?
Yes, guys, as always, if you do see any video game news knocking around the social media platform of your choice, then do feel free to get in contact with us. It's Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media profiles, as well as going into the Discord. There is an area in there called The Scoop. All you need to do is just drop in the link, your thoughts and impressions. We'll then give you our thoughts and impressions in the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
10 a.m.
Ish.
10 a.m. ish. Always the ish. As mentioned, gonna drop off now. I will be back imminently with some PUBG. So if you want to stick around, feel free. It'd be nice to have you in the stream. We'll play PUBG for a few hours, tick off some dailies, and then just see how it goes. But yeah, as mentioned, also potentially an extra stream later on with Mafia. And you know what Baby's like. He went live at like, I don't know, like 3 o'clock this morning or whatever it was, playing PGA. You know what he's like. So maybe even extra. We will see. We will see. Not, maybe not. Maybe not. The only way you can find out is to hit follow on the social medias, and that way you keep up to date. Hit follow here, and you get notified. That's the best way. That's the best way. Anyway, we are going to disappear. Have yourselves a fantastic day, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back in just a few with PUBG. But you know what? Until then, Bib, what are they going to do?
You gotta stay frosty.
Gotta stay frosty.